Most of my life I grew up in California, where I think that had a lot to do with inspiration for my work. I mean, California has everything. There's the mountains with Tahoe, and you have deserts, you have the ocean. I used to go to the beach a lot when I was a kid. And there's just a lot of great places, redwood forests, places just covered in snow. And I think all those different places inspired me to give my work variety. I would describe my work as not quite fantasy, but it's not complete realism. I don't particularly like to paint images that are completely realistic. I like them to have more of a dreamlike effect, maybe the perfect place that you would want to escape to. Try to give people a kind of a sense of peace and serenity. Many artists who have influenced me over the years, including Maxfield Parrish, a lot of the Hudson River School painters such as like Albert Bierstadt, even French Impressionism. The main ingredients or the main thing about a Rattenbury painting would be it's got a lot of detail, it's got a lot of color, and it gives you that feeling of almost being in a dream. I've heard numerous times from people, they'd say, oh, I have one of your paintings or one of your prints on the wall, and you know, my day is so stressful, and I get up and I go to work, and I'm so stressed, but I get up and I look at your image, and it just relaxes me, and it makes me feel calm, and then I can go on with my day. And that's the kind of thing I like to hear, and that's what I'm trying to create in my images. It takes a lot of time to create a piece and really get that detail. Sometimes I sit back and I look at it and I think, no, it needs more detail. And I go back in, and there's some paintings that I think this is driving me crazy because I just can't stop. I use a very tiny brush to get all the real fine detail that really gives it the little tiny details that I get in with that fine tip brush. But it does take a long time. I use a fine, super smooth portrait grade canvas, get a really nice smooth finish, and you can really get that detail that I'm trying to capture. And acrylics are so versatile, you can just do about anything with them, although it takes a lot of practice. Skies are very difficult to control the color, the blending, and the drying time. So if you get used to them enough and you learn about different techniques to slow the drying time down and give yourself that window where you can blend it all together, which can be difficult, and you have to know what you're doing and to get it done right. My passion is painting and creating. I always feel like I have to be creating something, whether it be painting or doing some music. I always feel a need to create, and I think that's kind of what drives an artist. I can't imagine ever doing anything else but painting for a living. I've done a lot of work in Japan. I started years ago there. I originally did 7 shows in Nagoya. We sold a lot of work there, and then I moved to an even larger company in Tokyo and did some really huge shows with, you know, lines out the door, and they were extremely busy shows and things we pretty much would sell out the entire show in the first night. When you're doing a large show in Japan, it's a little nerve-wracking when you walk into a room and there's 1,000 people waiting to see you, and they got lights and cameras and they try to video it all, and you're usually doing a speech that they translate, and it can be a little overwhelming, but it's still a lot of fun. And I still have a lot of work over there. And I try to keep the paint very smooth and very flat. I don't like a lot of bumps and texture like some artists like to pile on the texture, but I tend to like that nice, smooth, even finish, which really gives it a nice look. I've been asked in the past, when I've sent paintings to galleries, they say, well, this looks like a print. Is this a print? And I have to say, no, this is actually the original. I tend to mask the sides of my canvas off so it looks like an image printed on top of the canvas, whereas actually the painting. I always ask them, well, if you look at the signatures, you can always tell. My originals are always signed in white. There were times when I used to wake up and I dreamed something, and I think that is a great image, I have to paint that. Art for me just allows me to express myself and tell people the way I feel and what I think and the way I see the world. It's just a way of expressing myself. I think as an artist you have to always push yourself and try to get to the next level. I don't think there's a point where you think, okay, here I am, I'm the best I can be, that's it, this is it, I'm just going to go forward like this and move on. You have to always push yourself and try other things. Say, oh, you have a hard time painting such an image, you just got to do it. You got to move on, you got to improve and get better, and I think as an artist you always do get better, you always improve, and I continue to strive to perfect my work and make it even better. I think over the past 20 years I've inspired a lot of people and made a lot of people feel good with my images, and I don't think there's a point where I think, oh, I would retire and not do this anymore. I think it's one of those things where I just feel a need to create, and I'm always going to be creating. Art to me is a way of expressing one's feelings, one's inspirations, one's dreams. That's what it is to me, and that's what I do with my canvas. I put my dreams and inspirations onto the canvas and hope it inspires others.